So, Narad, so we were on page 120.
Yes. And what line?
First three lines in the second paragraph we covered. The gulf between dream truth, oath fact was crossed. That's the line.
A gulf?
The gulf. The gulf between dream truth. The gulf between dream truth, oath fact was crossed. The wonder worlds of life were dreams no more. His vision made all, they unveiled its own.
No. His vision made all they unveiled its own.
Okay. His vision made all they unveiled its own. Their scenes, their happenings met his eyes and heart and smote them with pure loveliness and bliss.
So we know where we are. We're in the book of the Traveler of the Worlds, and Ashwapati is going through the glory and fall of life, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And in that glory and fall of life, he is seeing these different aspects of this plane of existence.
Mm-hmm.
And in this plane, he sees his vision,
Mm-hmm.
says, made everything that is in this plane of existence its own. Everything they unveil, it makes his own. And he sees their scenes and their happenings that met his eyes and heart and smote them. Smote is quite a strong word, isn't it? Smote.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Almost hit them with pure loveliness and bliss. It's the past tense of smite, huh?
Okay.
And smite usually means to affect. Well, there are many, many definitions of smite and smote. And basically it means to affect suddenly with deep feeling.
Okay.
In this case.
Okay.
To affect sharply, to impress favorably. So it's not the usual idea of a heavy blow, hitting someone with a heavy blow.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes. All right. A breathless summit region drew his gaze.
Again, it's a breathless summit region that drew his gaze.
A breathless summit region drew his gaze, whose boundaries jutted into the sky, into a sky of self, and dipped towards a strange ethereal base.
Ethereal.
Ethereal. Okay.
Ethereal.
Ethereal.
So it's a very breathless region, but it's a summit region that drew his gaze. And the boundaries of that summit region jutted. To jut something is to protrude.
Vibrate. Okay.
No, to protrude. Extend upward. Jutted into a sky of self. And then what happened? And then they dipped towards a strange ethereal base. And ethereal is always referring to heaven or the spirit or something celestial.
Right.
So we'll carry on.
Yes. The quintessence glowed of life's supreme delight.
No, but you have to end the sentence there. The quintessence glowed of life's supreme delight.
The quintessence glowed of life's supreme delight.
Yeah, and it's also quintessence.
Quintessence.
Quintessence, yes.
Quintessence.
And that quintessence, that definition is something that is a highly concentrated essence.
Mhm. Okay.
And now he's continuing to tell us what else is happening.
On a spiritual and mysterious peak, only a miracle's high transfiguring line divided life from the formless infinite and sheltered time against eternity.
Okay. On a spiritual and mysterious peak, of course, we do not see what Sri Aurobindo saw.
Mhm.
We only attempt with our mind to somehow vaguely imagine it. And only this miracle's high transfiguring line divided life from the formless infinite. And so we understand that there are these different degrees
Mhm.
of, we can say, stages. The first stage we have is the stage of the individual ignorance,
Mm.
body, life, and mind. The
Mhm.
second stage is the spiritual planes of consciousness, and they go from the lowest, which is the highest, higher mind, to the
Mhm.
highest, the overmind.
Mhm.
But the third stage is the supermind.
Okay.
So here, it's sheltering time against eternity. Powerful, powerful line. Now, he's going to tell us more.
Out of that formless stuff, time mints its shape. The eternal's quiet holds the cosmic act. The protein images of the world force have drawn the strength to be, the will to last, from a deep ocean of dynamic peace.
Now, the word protein is
Mhm.
like protein, not,
Uh-huh.
not like protein. It's protein,
Protein.
protein images. And protein means here taking varied shapes or forms or
Mhm.
meanings. So these images of these these varied forms and shapes are images of the world force. And the world force, Sri Aurobindo tells us, mind energy, life energy,
Mhm.
material energy are different dynamisms of one world force. So you see, we have mind and we have life and we have material energy. They're all one, but they're just different dynamisms of the one world force because everything is one and everything is the divine.
Mhm.
So I give you a couple of more because this is very important. The Devi is the divine Shakti, the consciousness and power of the divine, the mother and energy of the worlds. All powers are hers. Sometimes Devi power may mean the power of the universal world force, but this is only one side of the Shakti. And this is from one of his letters on yoga.
Okay.
Then
Beautiful.
there's another letter that's very interesting and revealing also. It's another letter on yoga.
Mhm.
Not letters on Savitri, letters on yoga. There are two different ones. As for the spectator and the coils of the dragon, it is the Chino Japanese image for the world force extending itself in the course of the universe. And this expresses the attitude of the witness seeing it all and observing its unfolding, the unrolling of the play of the divine Leela. So this is this world force. And he
Okay.
hyphenates the word also. And he capitalizes it in Savitri. So capitalized and hyphenated, and now we have the definition. Mind energy, life energy, material energy are different dynamisms of the one world force.
Thank you so much, Narad sir. I'm able to relate now clearly.
Okay. Invert.
Inverting the spirit's apex towards life, she spends the plastic liberties of the one
Whoa,
to cast.
I'm on 121 now.
Yes,
Okay, all right, inverting, okay.
inverting. Yeah.
Inverting, sorry, inverting the spirit's apex towards life. So the world, this world force, this divine play of the Lord is now inverting this apex, this height, this top, very top of the spirit down towards life. He wants
Oh.
creation here.
Mhm.
And so the divine Shakti who does the work of the Purusha, she spends the plastic liberties of the one to do what? To cast in acts the dreams of her caprice, of her fancy.
Mhm. Okay.
Her,
His wisdom's call steadies her careless feet. He props her dance upon a rigid base. His timeless, still immutability must standardize her creation's miracle.
and so we see that in this phase, the Prakriti, the divine Shakti, is not absolutely careful. She, he has, the Purusha has to steady her careless feet. He has to prop her dance upon a rigid base, which is matter.
Mhm.
His timeless, still immutability. Immutable is not subject to
Not changing. Yeah.
right? Must standardize. In other words, make a standard, make a similar, alike,
Mhm.
an established size or weight or quality, must standardize her, Shakti's, creation's miracle. So we see how the Purusha and Shakti are acting to create the world.
Okay.
Okay.
Out of the void's unseeing energies, inventing the scene of a concrete universe, by his thought, she has fixed its space. In its blind acts, she sees by flashes of his all knowing light.
Again, we're seeing the play of the two of them, huh? She is inventing, of course, from the void, from the unseeing energy of the void, from that emptiness, she is inventing the scene of a concrete universe.
Mhm.
But it's by his thought that she has fixed its paces. And in its blind acts, she sees by flashes of his all knowing light. So beautiful.
Yeah. It's almost like creation, the concept of creation evolving or something like that.
And he'll tell us more now.
Sure. At her will, The inscrutable supermind leans down to guide her force that feels but cannot know. Its breath of power controls her restless seas, and life obeys the governing idea.
So this is an important four lines here. We have to look at them carefully. The first line, at her will, only because the divine Shakti wants to create something, and we've just heard about that creation coming down. Only because of that, the inscrutable, you can't see it, it's physically impenetrable, impossible to understand. The inscrutable supermind leans down at her will. We have to remember that. And what does the supermind do? To guide her force. Now, her force feels, but it cannot know as yet. Because the Divine Mother has compressed herself so much to come down to create that she is now what they call Gaia, the nature force, the builder, the mother. She's the mother, of course. Up there on the transcendent heights, she knows everything. But down here, she has reduced herself so she can feel her force, but she cannot know it. And therefore, its breath of power controls her restless seas. So we see that its breath of power controls her restless seas. If the seas were out of control, there may be no earth. And life obeys the governing idea. And note that the idea is capitalized, and therefore it is the real idea or the supermind, as Sri Aurobindo has often told us. It's a beautiful story.
Beautiful. Yeah.
We can go a little, few lines.
Sure. Okay. At her will, led by a luminous eminence, the hazardous experimenting mind pushes its way through obscure possibles, mid chance formations of an unknowing world.
So now he's talking to us about the mind, the experimenting mind, but it's also a hazardous experimenting mind. And mind can be very dangerous. It can and can lead us into evil, and it can lead us towards truth. Can do both. So he says this mind is pushing its way through these obscure possibles. Well, he says that nothing is impossible. That every impossible is tomorrow's possible. And so here the mind is pushing its way through obscure possibles and doing what? Amid, in the midst of chance formations of an unknowing world. The world is totally unknowing. It doesn't know what the mind is doing or the divine is doing. That's a good place to end.
Sure.
We need everything now.
I'll go back to page 120.
Right.
The gulf between dream truth, earth fact was crossed. The wonder worlds of life were dreams no more. His vision made all they unveiled its own. Their senses, their happenings met his eyes and heart and smote them with pure loveliness and bliss. A breathless summit region drew his gaze, whose boundaries jutted into a sky of self and dipped towards a strange, ethereal base. The quintessence glowed of life's supreme delight. On a spiritual and mysterious peak, only a miracle's high transfiguring line divided life from the formless infinite and sheltered time against eternity. Out of that formless stuff, time mints his shapes. The eternals quite holds the cosmic act. The protean images of the world force have drawn the strength to be, the will to last from a deep ocean of dynamic peace. Inverting the spirit's apex towards life, she spends the plastic liberties of the one to cast in acts the dream of her caprice. His wisdom's call steadies her careless feet. He props her dance upon a rigid base. His timeless, still immutability must standardize her creation's miracle. Out of the void's unseen energies, inventing the scene of a concrete universe, by his thought, she has fixed its spaces. In its blind acts, she sees by flashes of his all-knowing light. At her will, the inscrutable supermind leans down to guide her force that feels but cannot know. Its breath of power controls her restless seas, and life obeys the governing idea. At her will, led by luminous eminence, the hazardous experimenting mind,
Imminence. Imminence.
imminence, okay.
The
At her
imminence of
will,
something that it remains within,
mhm,
but it's a luminous imminence. At her will, led by a luminous imminence.
at her will, led by a luminous imminence, the hazardous experimenting mind pushes its way through obscure possibles, mid chance formations of an unknowing world. I think that's where we stopped. Yeah.
Yes, very good reading. Very good.
Thank you, Narad sir. You made it all possible because you gave me the meanings. I read it, but I was not able to make out anything. So
But
thank you.
you have it now. Good.
Yes.
Namaste.
Thank you so much, Narad sir. You have a great week ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take care.